Hey, everybody. Next week, we're at Mr. Brews next Wednesday, 7 p.m. in Overland Park, Kansas. Come out, guys. Best burgers in town, tons of beers and drinks, fabulous environment, and, of course, the really nice special of 69-cent Wing Wednesday. Definitely come out, see us, guys. We'll be there 7 p.m., Mr. Brews, Overland Park.
Welcome into the Sports Buffoons podcast.
Welcome all in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, newcomers and oldcomers, to the Sports Buffoons, episode 100. What's going on, my fellas? Mike Settle running it. We got Tanner Dawson and Jason JG, guys.
What's up, everybody?
I like to keep it 100. Keep it 100. That's how we roll.
Keeping it 100 for real this time. He's not messing around anymore, so that is legit. But speaking of that, Tanner, 69-cent wings, Mr. Brews next week sounds phenomenal. So I'm not sure what their burger of the month is yet, but they do have the best regardless. They have turkey burgers. They got like the black bean burgers, I think.
Yep, black bean.
And they got the regular beef. So whatever you're into, all the kind of meats in your mouth, whatever you like the most, go ahead and stuff it in there. So guys, how are we feeling after Super Bowl weekend? Getting all wrapped up now. The NFL offseason is officially here. Man, is it sad, or do we feel some glimmer of excitement going into the offseason?
I don't know. It's going to be some excitement, I think, going to happen, right? Tom Brady just retired. Aaron Rodgers could be up in the air. Aaron Donald's talking about retirement. Like, there's a bunch of retirement talk right now. Sean McVay could step away from football, for God's sake, after winning the youngest coach to win the Super Bowl. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on, and what we had 8 new coaches, head coaches,
something like that. Yeah,
I think 8 new coaches, and I think it was 6 new GMs. So there's tons of things that could happen this offseason.
Yeah, I'm not too worried or upset right now. I'm excited for the offseason because guess what, guys? We still have a lot to go on here to fix up about each team in the NFL. The Chiefs have a lot of work to do, get the pass rush back in order. 31 sacks this past season. I'm not going to do it going forward, guys. We need somebody better than that. Frank Clark, your ass is gone to me. But, besides that, guys, let's start it off soft and smooth here. What are you guys sipping on today? Anything cool? Anything good?
Just grab me a little strawberry lemonade seltzer. Can't go wrong.
He's what do they say? What's the old? Oh, never mind. It's a White Claw joke, not a Truly joke.
Yeah, it's a White Claw.
Okay, go ahead, Jason.
I'm rolling with the Devil's Claw right now, but I'm fairly certain that you stole my Buzzballs, which is one of my favorite drinks of all time. Pretty sure you stole that from me.
No, what happened was I went to Gomer's and I got the chocolate Buzzball. So I would never steal that from you.
Yeah.
I like that just as much as you do.
Devil's Cut. Devil's Cut.
Oh, yeah, it's Devil's Cut. He said Devil's Claw.
You said White Claw.
I don't care about that.
If you do want to know what I stole from you, it was a little bit of Maker's Mark that you left over here a month ago. So,
well, I already knew that. That was no brainer right there. I just want my damn Buzzballs.
I was trying to convince you that it was like something about the air and something about just condensation, and boom, all of a sudden there was less in there. But we'll save that for a later day. But
you owe me $10. That's the bottom line.
$10 whole dollars?
Yeah.
We'll go play some baccarat, and maybe we'll win it back for you.
I don't know what that is. Nobody's ever heard of that. What is that word? I've never heard that before.
Your favorite game of all time. Guys, we have a lot to talk about today. I mean, when I say a lot, I mean a lot, because we got to talk about a quick Super Bowl recap. We're going to talk about the wild offseason predictions we have coming up for you all. We're going to talk about the MLB top 5 things to do this season if we don't have a season or if it's delayed. So your whole summer, you could have a lot of free time on your hands. So we're going to give you guys some ideas on what you could be doing to replace your time from watching the Royals or the Dodgers or your favorite team of choice. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the NBA trade of the week, which was James Harden and Ben Simmons being swapped one for the other, and some of the controversy, in my mind, resolving around that. So we got a lot to talk about, guys. First and foremost, the Super Bowl is now wrapped up. Bengals took a big L, taking a loss to the Rams, 23-20 in that game. I was very happy with the outcome. I nailed 10 of my bets out of 13. Is that right, Tanner?
Yes. So, you nailed 10 out of 13.
Okay. 10 out of 13. So that means if you guys listened to the show last week, you're rich. So congratulations. So how'd you guys do with your predictions last week on the bets?
JG, he went 5 for 5 on his bets.
Broke even.
So broke even. I went 6 for 4 out of my 10, 60%, right? So not too bad. And then just quick as a group, guys, eliminating all the double, bets that we all bet on as well. We went 12 for 7 as a group, 63%.
Gotcha. So as a group,
so not really too bad.
We made the audience money, which was the entire point, right? So
correct.
As a group, we're doing our job. Now, guys, when it comes to the NBA, I'm a terrible bettor, so when it comes to that, don't listen to anything I have to say. So that's a total buffoonery of myself. Trust these guys over me on that stuff. When it comes to the NFL, I'm probably your guy. So, so quick recap of the game, by the way. Cooper Kupp, we nailed that shit. MVP of the game, 8 catches, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns in that game. We knew he was going to be uncovered the whole game. We knew it was going to happen.
He really turned it
Apple, the touchdown play at the end of the game, little applesauce going on. So this whole league has something against Eli Apple. Maybe it's some of its cockiness. I'm not sure exactly where it stems from. Maybe it's the online Twitter atmosphere he's presented to himself.
Too much of this.
Too much happens for a guy who's really not very good. So
they're literally third string on their depth chart.
I'm happy with the outcome of the Super Bowl. I'm kind of glad it's over with because it was not exactly entertaining. It was not the best.
I actually didn't mind it. I thought it wasn't too bad. It was way better than I thought it would be. I figured the Rams. I remember my prediction. The Rams were going to blow them out.
Yeah.
And it ended up being the actual ball game. I got to give the Bengals credit first off. I was actually impressed by the Bengals just for the fact that they actually stayed within the game. Their defense actually did a pretty good job against the Rams for the most part. And outside of Ramsey, Ramsey got burnt, twice? 3 times? At some point, granted, there was a little face mask tug there at Higgins.
The T. Higgins play should have never happened.
That should have never happened. But there's also a lot of calls that shouldn't happen. But still, I was impressed. The Bengals went out there, they fought till the end, and you can't be mad about it. And of course, Aaron Donald being Aaron Donald, just finally, he's been triple teamed the entire game and finally came, got through that last play.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it though. I really did. For as much as I didn't think I was going to, I enjoyed it.
There you go. All right, well, I'm glad someone enjoyed it then. I just wanted to get it over with. I thought the halftime show was cool.
Halftime show was awesome.
And normally I don't care about that kind of stuff, but this one was actually pretty legit. So got to give the Super Bowl credit for putting together
the 50 Cent appearance out of nowhere.
I did not expect that. That threw me off.
I was like, wait a minute, is that who I think is coming down?
Yeah, I think Stafford got a well-deserved ring, and Eli Apple got his ass handed to him by Cooper Kupp, and that's what we all wanted to see, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it was just a weird game all the way around, and I love the halftime show. That was probably my favorite part of the whole game. But it was a weird game for me because when I look at that final score, 23-20, I don't think that tells the whole story. I think for me that was a 23-13 game if you take away that T. Higgins touchdown where he grabbed the face mask of Jalen Ramsey. And I also look at the way that they voted on the Super Bowl MVP. Cooper Kupp didn't even have 100 yards receiving. However, the problem I have with the Super Bowl MVP voting is that they have to get their votes in, I don't know if you guys know this, by the 2-minute warning. And that was when Aaron Donald really turned it on. And so I think for me, the Super Bowl MVP is Aaron Donald, not Cooper Kupp. The final score is 23-13, not 23-20. And so I think there are a few things that could have been done better in this game with regard to the MVP voting and, as we all know, the officiating, which, everybody, it always seems like it's super easy to complain about officiating, but I had a big problem with the officiating in this game because that was not a 23-20 game. I mean, we can talk all day long as Chiefs fans about the head official in this game, and I'm not going to try to attack this guy personally, but
we already did that once on this show.
He's got a problem. I'm not going to attack him personally, but this game could have been called a little bit better, and then the MVP voting could have been done a little bit better as well.
And that's kind of both ways on the calls, right? So the T. Higgins call, non-call, and then you had the linebacker for the Bengals that wasn't really pass interference get called, and that gave the Rams a chance to take the game. So.
Right, and so they interviewed the head official, and he said, we don't call things like that for the 15-yard penalty unless there is a twist and turn. Well,
there was no twist.
For me personally, when I watched the video, there was a twist and a turn. And so we can argue about that all day long.
I mean, we
but
could break it down. But
We're talking about Ron Torbert, guys. We already had his picture in our thumbnail about a month and a half.
Right, we're not trying to torch this guy. I'm just saying, like, the game wasn't close, right? That's my personal opinion. That was not a close game, and I think there was a reason why they wanted to keep the Chiefs out of that Super Bowl, because they wanted to put the Bengals in there and make it a little bit easier. 23-20, whatever. I wasn't impressed by the game, and I wasn't impressed by the fact that the Rams got to dominate a significantly weaker team. I wasn't impressed by the matchup at all. But again,
really
like you guys said from the very beginning, the halftime show was the highlight for me. So
yeah,
that's what I like the best.
Yeah. Now, scouting combine comes up here in 2 weeks. So at this point, we're coming up here a month from now. Everyone resets to 0-0 on the record. So, hey, Rams, congratulations on Super Bowl victory. I thought this was a team that this year deserved it in the end. So I'm happy with the outcome on the whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, in 2 weeks, we're talking about some NFL combine going on, watching some men run in tights, my favorite thing in the world. I'll have my own little thing going on with that. So stay tuned for that. Throughout the entire offseason, I'll be talking Chiefs once a week with you guys on a solo. So just be watching out for that. We don't have an official name set in stone for that, but I'll be talking some combine. I'll be
keep
talking
an eye out.
Some pro days. I'll be talking some free agency and all those kinds of things.
Coming to you in March. Just keep an eye out.
So just something to keep in mind here coming up for us. But hey, before we move on, you guys, to our next segment here, Matthew Stafford finally has a ring. Also, finally has a playoff win for the first time in his career since 2009. Do you guys think he's a Hall of Fame quarterback?
I would say that his career is not finished yet, and so I think in the future he could build up the resume to eventually be a Hall of Famer. But if his career were to end right now, there's no way in hell he's a Hall of Famer, because when you think back throughout the course of his career, did he ever lead the league in anything? Before you answer that question, I'll give you the answer. He did lead the league
passing yards or interceptions,
pick sixes 4 times
Pick six
in his career. So he is not currently a Hall of Famer, but I am a fan of Matthew Stafford, and I do believe that he can build that resume as we move forward. But if his career ended right now, there's no way we're putting him in a Hall of Fame.
How many times Brett Favre led the league in pick sixes? So that's also something that's potentially out there somewhere. No, I agree with you completely on that, though, because I think that Matt Stafford's going to be 34 here. So I think that he's still got at least 3 more years of quality play left in him. And so to me, it's like if he stays with the Rams for the remainder of his career and at least goes back to the Super Bowl again, and he continues to put on great performances. He had his highest touchdown number of his entire career this year with 41, and he never did that with the Lions, even with Calvin Johnson. And so I just think that you're looking at a guy who, maybe this is just the right situation for him to fall under with the right coach and the right organization and
the right weapons.
Finally, everything's falling in place for him, and I think he could be a Hall of Famer eventually. But I'm agree with you right now. If he was to be done today, say he just woke up tomorrow and was like, "Oh, I'm going to retire," not a Hall of Famer.
No, I'm with you guys. You guys said it all right there.
But to me, it's too early to even talk about it.
It is. The guy's not leaving. If he was to retire right now, no. Obviously, he still has another 5, 6, 7 years on him.
Yeah. So here's the thing: Carrington Harrison on 610's talked about this, local sports radio here in Kansas City, and he's comparing him to Matt Ryan and Joe Flacco here and there, stuff like that. And I know what he's trying to say, but at the same time, Matt Ryan has not won a Super Bowl, and Joe Flacco did. But we also know why he won that too at the same time, and we also can tell the difference between Stafford and Joe Flacco. We know there's a big discrepancy there between talent between the two players there.
Yep.
I don't think it's comparable right there. But also, why compare guys when they're not done? If Mahomes was to be done tomorrow and retire tomorrow, is he a Hall of Famer? Honestly, borderline. Because if you put up 4 years worth of numbers, but you don't really produce more than 1 Super Bowl, does that make you a Hall of Famer? I don't know, because if you retire at 26, but he's going to play till he's 35 or 40. I just don't think it's fair to even bring that up. That conversation to me, which was originally brought up by 610, recently. Like Harrington Harrison talked about it.
Just a reach.
I think it's something that they wanted to talk about, but doesn't make sense for why to bring it up right now. It's only because he won the damn title. And so we needed to look past that for now and go, if he does it again, then yeah, he's in. I'll put him in if he does it again. 2 Super Bowls to me means they're probably in.
Yeah.
1, with a career like he's had, I can't justify it yet. Speaking of that, by the way, you guys, the Hall of Fame inductees was put into place just this past weekend. And, gosh, they left out a lot of big names. Reggie Wayne was in there. Andre Johnson was in there, former receiver of the Texans. A lot of big-name receivers were left off the board in their first year of eligibility. And Devin Hester as well, the best kick returner of all time, was on in there. But, they put in Sam Mills. They put in a few other guys. I just thought it was like, it's kind of stretch to be putting in some of these other guys that have been waiting forever. But I still always feel like the Hall of Fame is getting watered down. I think the Hall of Fame eventually is going to become so watered down with a bunch of guys who are really good, but in comparison to today's game would probably be nothing. And that's what I'm afraid of. Patrick Willis was also up for eligibility, who was one of the best linebackers of our generation. And, Sam Mills played throughout the early 2000s and late 90s for the Panthers. And I don't know that I can sit there and say, Sam Mills was better than Patrick Willis. It's more of he waited longer. Sam Mills had to wait longer to get put into the Hall of Fame. And I don't know if that's right. I don't know if that's the way we want to go about the Hall of Fame down the road, because one day I want to go to Canton, Ohio myself, and I want to see all this stuff. But I also want to see the best of the best. I want to see, the gloves of Larry Fitzgerald. I want to see, some of the cleats of Takeo Spikes even, stuff like that. I want to see those kinds of things, and I'm afraid we're going to be putting in guys for the sake of people waiting rather than people who deserve it 5 years after eligibility. And so, I don't know. That was just my quick little rant of when I saw who was inducted this past weekend and what I think about that. I'm concerned for it for the future, because I really want the best of the best to be going in each and every year for the NFL Hall of Fame.
And I think that you should be concerned because, as we know, not just with the NFL, but with the NBA, both of those leagues are changing from defensive-minded leagues to offensive-minded leagues, and I think it's going to be a little bit more skewed towards offensive players in the future. And so I do think it is going to be watered down as we go forward. And it's unfortunate because I think we should value offense and defense equally, in my mind.
I agree. That's why in our fantasy league, I make sure we have IDPs, guys. That's right. I don't want the defensive players to be forgotten about. All right, guys. Well, one more quick NFL topic before we move on to the other things. When I say move on, I mean probably move on for a while because, God damn it, the NFL season's over. Wild off-season predictions coming up, guys. I want to know your thoughts coming in. Think about the next 6 months of our lives. What's going to happen in the NFL, and what is some of the most interesting, or just your thoughts about what could happen for specific teams, even, and who's going to stand out when it comes to, let's say, August, 6 months from now. Who's going to be, or what's going to be moving around the league, because we already know the league shuffles and moves every single season. It's always something different all the damn time. Tanner, I want to know for you, what is a wild prediction you have coming up for the next 6 months?
You ready for this?
Yeah, I want to hear it.
Oh man! All right, I'm going to give you 3 hot takes real quick here. Deshaun Watson is a Minnesota Viking by season start.
We're going to argue,
which means Kirk Cousins goes to the Texans. Devontae Adams signs a major deal with the Dolphins to pair in with Waddle for Tua. And Detroit trades their second-round draft pick for Calvin Ridley, and they get like a 6th or 7th after that. That's my 3 hot takes this offseason.
Did you just say that Waddle and Tua were paired to go where?
Devontae is going to go play with Waddle and Tua. He's going to sign Devontae Adams.
I thought, they already have a Devontae Parker.
Yes, correct. They're going to get the better Devontae and go that route.
So Devontae Adams then goes to the Dolphins.
Correct.
Wow. So then you're going to have 2 Devontaes on the same team.
2 Devontaes and a Waddle.
I like that. That is very wild. I like the.
That's my wild. Those are my wild off-season predictions.
Okay. Yeah, that is wild. I like that one. I have one that's a little more logical, but. Jason, you want to go ahead and go first on yours?
We got to go wild, man. Wild predictions. So, number 1, Tom Brady will reemerge as a San Francisco 49er with Antonio Brown and with Rob Gronkowski, because he's not going back to the Bucs. They've got salary cap issues. And could you imagine Tom Brady being coached by Kyle Shanahan with that freaking roster? I mean, my gosh, that's my first wild prediction. Number 2, Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. They will be on the Broncos next year. Why? Because they already brought Nate Hackett in there as the coach. And the Broncos, make no mistake, they are desperate for a quarterback. And if you want to define the word desperate, you look it up in the dictionary. It's going to say Denver Broncos. They're desperate for a quarterback. So they have seen what the LA Rams have done this past year with going all in and winning a Super Bowl. That's what the Broncos mentality is right now. And as far as my number 3 wild prediction, San Francisco 49ers are plus 1,600 right now, guys. So I know you guys have all made a lot of money on this show already. I want you to make more money because Niners are plus 1,600 win the Super Bowl right now. So you bet plus 1,600. If Tom Brady goes there with all of those weapons that I just told you about, I mean, you can take that easy money JG bet to the bank.
Yeah, I mean, if they had a combination of Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and then you said Antonio Brown?
Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski. 2 tight end sets.
And George Kittle?
Yeah, they're running 2 tight end sets with Gronk and George Kittle.
No, does Antonio Brown quit in the middle of the season or at the end
of the season?
They don't. Here's the thing. There's a caveat. They don't let him in until week 10. And then he just goes to town, dude. He just goes to town, and you can take that all the way to the bank, all the way to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he doesn't want to put in the work anyway, so I wouldn't blame him if that was the case. So, Tanner, you and I have something similar. So I like the Vikings idea. It reminds me a little bit of Randall Cunningham as far as that same style. So Deshaun Watson has actually a no-trade clause in his contract. So he can remove that to allow a trade of his choice. So Here's the thing. The Texans are not just going to trade him away to wherever. Watson has to be the chooser of where he ends up at with this whole deal. I love the obvious choice, which is to send him to the Buccaneers, a team that's already loaded with talent, a team that already has, as long as they re-sign Chris Godwin, great receiving talent with Evans and Godwin together there. And I love that matchup because you're working with a team who's already set with good talent and that can win now and in the future because Watson's obviously, going to only be 26, 27 years old coming up soon. So I just think it's a great fit on that entire team. So I see Deshaun Watson going to the Buccaneers also because Bruce Arians is a guy who gives people second chances. So that is also something to keep in mind when it comes to that. And also win now. They're in win now mode in a lot of ways because they want to win now. Instead of if you bring in a drafted quarterback, so right now Blaine Gabbert's the number 1 quarterback on that team. You can't roll with that. I'm sorry. That's not going to happen at all. It won't happen. So for me, it's like a team that they need to find either a veteran now, and they're not going to be getting a rookie. That's not going to happen. So that makes the most sense to me without a doubt. The other one, the Chiefs' best pass rusher of 2022 is not currently on the roster. And so what I mean by that is that we're looking at, obviously the current pass rushers on this team, and we got Frank Clark, we got Alex Okafor, Sean Warden, Chris Jones, all those kinds of guys on this team, Melvin Ingram if you want to throw him in there, I guess. The better pass rusher coming into this next season is not currently on this team, and he's not going to be drafted. The Chiefs are making a trade for a defensive end that's worth a shit, not a lazy bum like Frank Clark. And so watch for that to happen this offseason, and they might be giving up their first-round pick to make it happen, but just something to keep in mind. The current best pass rusher they have is not on this team right now. And my favorite prediction for this coming season for me, the Miami Dolphins will go into the 2022 season with the best roster they've had in 30 years. They have the most cap room in the NFL, plus no big names to re-sign besides Mike Gesicki. So this team is young, but also has a firepower to add more playmakers all over the team. And bringing in the new coach, Mike McDaniel, he is the third minority head coach in the NFL.
I like it.
As a matter of fact. And also a run-first kind of a coach. So they're going to get rid of that bum Myles Gaskin.
Your buddy.
So you can watch that run game magically turn into a miracle all of a sudden. Tua Tagovailoa. Devontae Parker is going to have a good year. I love Jalen Waddle. Mike McDaniel already came out and said that if he had Jalen Waddle, or if he had an opportunity to have him on his fantasy team, he'd be starting him every week.
Oh, yeah.
So he already has plans in place for Jalen Waddle coming soon, to a fantasy team near you. But I also think that the running back situation is going to be added to. The Dolphins are going to be adding depth all offseason here. They got the most cap room, as I just said, which means Chandler Jones. Welcome to Miami. I love that fit very, very well. Guy's 32 years old, but also is going to cost a lot. Dolphins can throw money at him and make it happen. And I also like the interior being worked on. I like Jones from Georgia, rookie, being picked 15th overall with the Dolphins' first-round selection. So, guys, I just think this team is going to be something locked and loaded to compete with Patriots and Bills in the AFC East next year. I think this team is going to be a 11-win team next season. So the Dolphins are my team of the future.
They're ready to load up. That's exactly, yeah. I'm with you.
Already a talented team, has the most cap room, and you've got good young talent everywhere. So build on that. So I love that, guys.
Real quick, I got one question for you guys. I know you guys both believe Tom Brady's coming back, but let's say Tom Brady stays retired. Rob Gronkowski, because Uzomah for the Bengals is a free agent. Does Rob Gronkowski play with Joe Burrow if Tom doesn't come back? Will it happen?
No, I think Rob Gronkowski would just stay out at that point. He's going for Tom Brady. He's waiting for Tom Brady.
Because he's already talked about Joe Burrow and how much he would play with him.
He's got very little juice left in those legs, and he's going to save all of that juice for when Tom Brady comes back. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, I like Brady playing football about 7 months from now.
I know you do. So, I think he stays retired.
All right. Well, now that we have the NFL all wrapped up and settled and figured out, you guys can throw your money down on your favorite picks in the betting scene over at Bovada if you'd like. Well, let's move along to what we just found out over the weekend as well. Major League Baseball had a meeting once again over the CBA, the new CBA collective bargaining agreement on Saturday. Apparently, things still are not connecting. Things are not going well.
Didn't last an hour.
Baseball is supposed to begin on March 31st, and we're looking at a situation right now where, pitchers and catchers no longer reporting right now.
They're supposed to report yesterday.
Right, that's not going to happen. And they seem to be far off on what's going on for expectations on player depth even. So yeah, I did hear a rumor, as a matter of fact, very recently. My rumor is the new MLB CBA offer is to reduce the number of minor league players each team can roster.
That is a fact.
To go from 180 down to 150.
At a future stage, not for 22 or 23, but for a future years within the CBA.
They want to reduce the number of players overall to also save costs. Is that right?
Correct. Save money, save costs. Kind of what they've been doing by eliminating minor league teams already.
I'm not going to lie. In some ways, I don't disagree with that because I think there's a lot of those bottom-of-the-barrel guys. It's kind of like, what the fuck are you doing here? It doesn't really make sense to have certain guys on a roster. And now every once in a while, you have a dime a dozen that comes across. And
you got so many different divisions in the minor leagues of baseball. Right, you don't even hear of, right? And I don't know. I feel like there's just too much to scout, too much to go on right now, and I think if you do reduce that up, I think that's appropriate probably number right there.
Right, and the NFL obviously has a team full of 53 players. It's nowhere close to that number when it comes to practice squad.
14 practice squad guys now.
Yeah, I mean it's nowhere near that. Even in training camp, when you have 90. That's the most you can work with is 90.
Yeah, you don't have any.
And that's for a sport that holds 53 on one team. Now in baseball, you hold 25?
Yeah,
on one major league team.
Yep.
So I don't think they need 180 players. 150 actually sounds kind of reasonable to me. I'm not even against that logic going on from.
I feel like that could still give you a good taxi squad, still get your single A's going, rookie ball, and still have enough, to make it work. So,
but there is disagreements obviously between the players and the ownership going on.
We're still so far away from.
So there's also little rumors here and there that about certain players that are in discussions also have some money on the line, and that's why they're kind of pushing things off. Don't know for sure if that's true, but
I haven't heard that one.
I'd rather not get into details about that, just for the hell of it. So, guys, so March 31st comes along. There's no baseball. Let's pretend April comes along. No baseball. Let's pretend, May, June come along. No baseball. So I want to ask you guys then, what are the top 5 things you can do with your time this summer if there's no baseball season this year, or if it's delayed?
It's a great question, Mike. Jason?
Number 5.
One of the most popular sports out there is maybe could increase in fan size even more within the U.S. due to this lockout of the MLB, especially if it extends into the summer. But we all hate it here. Soccer? Soccer? Are you guys kidding me? Soccer could see an increase of fans and possibly could get a little bit more favoring over MLB, or Major League Baseball and baseball in general. We could see soccer really explode if this extends into the summer.
I've heard Kansas City's a good soccer town.
I've heard great.
I'm not going to lie. We're the sports buffoons, but we're not the soccer buffoons.
We are.
That is probably the one. I'll talk about Tiger Woods or any golf thing over anything soccer. That's right, Jason. I don't have no soccer love anymore. Hey, buddy, you know I gave it a shot at one point. I gave soccer a chance. I watched a few matches here and there. It wasn't for me. It's not my sport. So,
and we're talking about the world, possibly exhibition for the World Cup coming to Arrowhead. We're in fight for it. I know that's kind of going on, but man, the biggest sport in the world is.
You know why it's the biggest sport in the world? Because it's also the cheapest to play. You need a damn ball
and a goal. That's it.
Which you can make a draw chalk line.
I'm happy for you giving them a chance, Mike. That you're a little bit different than me because I never gave them a chance. And I have a serious problem if the USA can't actually be in the World Cup, and that's potential. The USA might not even be in the World Cup, so
we might be hosting a non-USA exhibition in Arrowhead.
Correct. Now, having said that, number 4,
watching the NBA playoffs. I'm sitting there in Major League Baseball in my head, watching the NBA playoffs. And tweeting Rob Manfred mean things. Just like being tweets you have with Jimmy Kimmel. Mm-hmm. This will be pretty much exactly what we'll be doing from our couches as we watch a 3-month NBA playoff.
Yeah.
Go on.
When we watch the Phoenix Suns go and dominate the playoffs, we're going to be tweeting Rob Manfred what an idiot he is. So, I just think that that's a good idea to spend time watching a sport that's actually active.
The bottom line is, guys, the NBA goes on until damn June 19th. So we don't need baseball until June 19th because we got the NBA, right? A lot of haters out there hate the fact that the NBA goes basically 9 months out of the year. Well, fuck you, dude. I love the NBA, and I'm going to watch that bullshit until June 19th. So knock yourself out.
All right, before we move on, Jason did have a good comment. We go, Ron, the host country automatically gets into the World Cup. So there you go. So there will be USA in the World Cup as long as we host. So
what did you say was wrong?
I didn't think. Well, we were talking about USA not making the qualifying for the World Cup. But since I guess we host country automatically gets in.
So I don't look. Soccer's the last thing.
I'm just telling you. Anyways,
I can't do it.
Jason,
going back to soccer, number 3.
We're gonna become a professional gamer, like Hollywood Brown, like he's about to do as he retires from the NFL. Essentially, Hollywood Brown stated, I believe the other day, that hey, I got enough following. I use my platform from the NFL. I got this huge community on Twitch. I'm going to go game, man. I'm not going to get hit by these massive linebackers and corners and all the safeties. And I'm just going to go chill, keep my body reserved. I'm going to make just as much money, possibly more, by streaming on Twitch.
I wonder how many followers he has on Twitch, actually, to make that happen. Because also, what games does he play? That's what I want to know. So Hollywood Brown, obviously, for the Ravens, just calling it quits in the NFL for now to maybe just do full-time video gaming on Twitch.
Do you think it's actually named Hollywood Brown?
I have no idea, Tanner. On Twitch? I'm not sure. I guess we could. There it is.
there it is.
Hollywood Brown 5 on Twitch.
22.2K followers.
1,000 followers.
We're just gonna kind of get a quick. So he plays a lot of Fortnite, Warzone, GTA. Looks like that's his main one.
Well, I will tell you this.
There. So that's a hell of a community. You'd start right there.
I've got a lot of respect for that guy because he is an NFL player and he is potentially giving up his NFL career to be a gamer. And I have a lot of respect for that because we here at the Sports Buffoons are potentially at some point giving up our normal careers to do the Sports Buffoons full time. And so it's a big risk. When you look at an NFL player like Hollywood Brown, he's taking a huge risk. And so I have an immense amount of respect for him if he's able to pull that off and step away from the NFL.
Such a dream. Such a dream to be.
I like it.
Jason?
Number 2.
All right, guys. We just talked about soccer. How about we watch some NHL while we're drinking our favorite heavy drinks? And speaking of which, Jason, you have 3 drinks you love to drink that probably during an NHL game would perfectly match that fit.
Well, I will throw this out there. My favorite NHL team, big surprise, is the Las Vegas Golden Knights. And my 3 favorite drinks while I'm watching the Golden Knights would be Johnny Walker Blue Label, Bombay Sapphire, and I don't even know what the third one is. I'll just throw out, gotta do the Woodford? I'll do the Woodford. It's my number 3.
Woodford's not bad. This is going to be great for the beginning of MLB season whenever we're doing all this crap because NHL goes on until like May or June. I'm maybe wrong. Maybe a little off.
I want to say May. So it's playoffs start in June.
Oh, so same time around NBA season then. So, guys, I think we're loaded with sports. We might not even need baseball. Rob Manfred can just go and shove it up his ass if he wants to, I guess. Really, for me, I'll be sitting around, on the weekends, obviously, drinking a little bit of Hercules Double IPA while I watch some, Carolina Hurricanes. NHL.
Carolina Hurricanes?
Because I'm not going to lie, guys, NHL is actually a great sport. I put it way above soccer and honestly right there with baseball, maybe even a little higher, honestly. It's not as notarized.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I could be wrong here.
I just think that NHL is a great sport. I've seen plenty of hockey now in my life, and I put it up there. I think we need to appreciate hockey more for what it is.
I jumped ahead, guys. It's actually the beginning of April. The playoffs. Yes.
That's fine. Hey, it'll carry us into the NBA finals.
But still, it still carries you. I mean, for me, guys, it just kind of depends. If I'm sitting at home on the couch, I'm probably going to drink some Forester whiskey or any kind of whiskey I really got. If I'm out about, depends on the environment I'm in. Probably beer, probably craft beer, most likely. I don't know.
But the cool thing is you're saving money on not going to baseball games. You can just hang out at home and enjoy these sports on your TV for free while you sip on some drinks.
Jason, you're looking for fighting like we talked about last week with the MLB? Well, here you go, baby. NHL. They get into fights and let them go.
Yeah, I love the NHL. I love those Las Vegas Golden Knights.
If MLB wants to get back its fan base, come back to the Attitude Era WWF. I'm talking about bringing out ladders and steel chairs and tables, and I want to see tag team matches. I just want this to be a straight-up brutal and lingerie matches, Tanner, in the middle of the diamond at
seventh
inning stretch. And now when we're stretching, it's going to be fun. Take me out to the ball game.
Jason, give me number 1.
Dude, but just to his point, that is their only hope. We've talked about it already on the show. That's their only hope. If you want to bring back the fan base of baseball, you have to do something drastic. So that's why I want more fights. Number 1.
Oh, man. We ain't getting into that baseball conversation again. All right, guys. How about something maybe everybody could do a little better? Pretend to spend more time with your family.
Pretend.
Or
pretend.
There could be more time in the bedroom.
What do you do in the bedroom, Tanner?
A little snooky.
Normally I find that off in the kitchen, but, whatever you're into is fine, I guess.
The hot tub? I don't care what you're doing. It's freaking spring and summer.
Hot tub? Now, we got friends that have hot tubs. Come on now. Let's keep it in our pants. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's a good idea, because here's what's going to happen is that you can't use the excuse anymore of, I can't hang out with family for a family reunion. I'm going to the Royals game. No, there is no Royals game, bitch. You got to come over and see your aunt and uncle.
You have to go to the zoo. You have to go to the zoo now because there is no baseball.
All right.
Well,
that's what you should be tweeting Rob Manfred. Rob Manfred, hey, you piece of crap, you made me have to go see my family because baseball never made an agreement to get back together again with the players.
Well, first of all, that's bullshit. Nobody's taking their wives to the zoo. I'm going to take my wife to the club, and we're going to ball out. So
touches. Touches.
There you go.
Sure.
Touches. You take your
Nobody's going to the fucking zoo, Tanner. Give me a fucking break.
Take your wife out to dinner, your girlfriend to the zoo. So that's how it normally goes. So it's whatever you're into the most. You can swap them if you want, but whatever they're into, that's fine.
Love it.
I'm glad we gave you guys great takes now on what to do with your off season if we have no baseball.
Let us know what your guys' thoughts are of what are you guys going to do if the lockout continues? Give us your thoughts in the comments below, guys.
Yeah. What is Jason's question there? I just saw that in the comments, by the way, as we're going. So
which one?
Have you guys talked about?
So there's talks today about Mahomes being odds for the favorite MVP. He is tied with Rodgers to be favored for MVP.
Plus 400.
Yep. And then also the Chiefs are favored for the Super Bowl next year as well. Right. Tied with the Bills as well.
Tied with the Bills.
So Tom Brady is, I believe, plus 1,400 for MVP talks as well, even being retired.
I see. Well, I think that it's fair. I mean, what else are you going to expect? Because the NFL also knows, and betting sites also know, that Mahomes is the most talented player in the league. Right up there with Aaron Rodgers as well, and Josh Allen. All those guys are kind of interchangeable as far as who's the best. It's hard to decide. I put Mahomes over Allen, of course, personally, but Rodgers won MVP again 2 years in a row, so 4 total for A-Rod.
4 time.
But I would take my chances with Mahomes, but I also would take them more likely if the Chiefs could add another piece at wide receiver, because here's the deal: going into the offseason, they got to re-sign Byron Pringle. They got to figure out what they're going to do with the Marcus Robinson, which hopefully means cut his ass. And then Tyreek Hill is your main threat, of course. But if something happens to Tyreek Hill, as I've been saying for the last 2 goddamn years, then they're in big trouble.
We got to sign Orlando Brown.
So we got to figure out something in the receiving game to add in there with Tyreek. The old Sammy Watkins tandem with Tyreek Hill was perfect. It counteracted each other great. And I think that Tyreek by himself, with having Byron Pringle as your number 2, is not exactly what you want. I think that there's good names out there this coming season. Allen Robinson has been a name in connection with the Chiefs recently that we've heard a lot of people talk about. I don't know if it's wishful thinking or if there's something to it, but I would love to see that happen as well. I think that would be cool. Not my favorite player by any means, but I think he'd fit in well for what the Chiefs need to have that bigger bodied receiver to take over for certain types of play calls.
Another guy I think fit well, DJ Chark.
DJ Clark.
I think he could fit well.
He'd come cheaper too. Big, 6'4". He's the same size as like Randy Moss.
He had a hurt season, right? Last year, but he performed the season before. And I think there's a lot of positive that could go that way, especially with a guy like Andy Reid.
You put him with Mahomes though, instead of like Gardner Minshew or whatever. Like,
hey, don't diss the mustache here.
Hey, I like Gardner Minshew. He's one of my favorites. So. All right. What was that?
You okay there, Jason? You like the mustache?
You guys know my opinion on this. I want a playmaker. I don't want to sit here and talk about guys like
Jason
Josh Gordon.
Go out and get.
I want to talk about Josh Gordon or DJ Chark.
He wants to get DK Metcalf.
I talked about Allen Robinson. You would like him, right?
You got 2 damn choices: Chris Godwin, and then you got Allen Robinson. In my opinion, you got those 2 choices, and Michael Gallup, 3 choices.
If the Chiefs signed Chris Godwin, I'd be Red Rocket. Like,
I don't want to hear any other names. I want to hear those 3 names, and that's it. I don't want to hear anything else.
Yeah.
I'd be bullshit.
I'd be having to see a doctor for the amount of blood going through my lower half if we got Allen Robinson on this team. And I like Calvin Ridley as well.
Enough Chiefs talk.
All right, guys. Yeah, I'm talking about the damn Chiefs. God. All right.
Get you going.
Hey, football's over, goddammit.
Get you going. You got to calm down.
We're here to talk about other sports now for the first time in like 8 months. All right. Moving along, guys. NBA had a big trade, by the way.
Yeah.
This past week. And really, I didn't think much of it at first because we knew it was coming, I thought. So we have James Harden moving along over to the 76ers, right? Mm-hmm. Ben Simmons moving over to the Nets. And this was a move. The Nets have now lost 9 of the last 10 games. Mm-hmm. And so there's obviously a chemistry issue that's been going on with that team, whether it's regard to, I think Durant's kind of playing his role. Harden and Kyrie Irving seem to have a problem between each other. But, this was a big trade that went down because Ben Simmons hasn't played all year long. And so I think that the injury is something to take into account with this trade because you're looking for like kind of a fresh face on this team for the Nets because both teams are still playoff eligible. And I think they both make it, as a matter of fact. So, Jason, you're the NBA expert. I always got to throw it to you because coming up for the next few months, you're the man. You're the man of this show because you're the most knowledgeable. I mean, no offense, Tanner, of the NBA topics we have here. So, you wanted to talk about Ben Simmons and James Harden trade. What are you thinking, man?
Well, I hope you guys heard my initial thoughts on this trade, but let's start with the Sixers first. And I always start with the loser of the trade. If you guys aren't familiar with this show, I want to start with the loser first. The loser were the Philadelphia 76ers. Yes, they got James Harden, who is a top 5 player in the NBA. But he also he doesn't play a lot of defense, and that's my biggest problem with James Harden. Now, the Sixers were not a bad defensive team before the trade. They were actually 7th best in the NBA, but now all of a sudden you got a guy in James Harden where all of a sudden it's kind of like a Steph Curry where you have to hide him on defense. It's a pretty good roster, but I actually have them as the 3rd best team right now in the East after the trade. I still have the Milwaukee Bucks ahead of them, and I have the Nets as the big winner in the trade. I also have the Nets as the number 1 team in the East, and here's why. You have to compare the old Big 3 to the new Big 3. Let's look at the old Big 3. The Nets, they were 13-3. They actually played 16 games. Can you believe that, guys? 16 games with James Harden, Kyrie Irving, and Kevin Durant. Hard to believe. They had a number 19 defensive rating with all of those offensive guys. That's actually not bad. They're middle of the pack with those offensive-minded guys. Harden was a little bit better playmaker than Ben Simmons, who's the guy that the Nets are getting, but he's also a defensive liability. When I look at the roster, I'm looking at a guy like Seth Curry, and I'm looking at Patty Mills, big-time shooters, right? They shoot a high percentage from three-point land. I'm looking at LaMarcus Aldridge, former superstar, a little bit older now, but he can still put up numbers. Andre Drummond was also acquired in the trade. He's a monster rebounder, a great interior post defender. I'm looking at Joe Harris, who may not even come back this year. He's a sniper from 3. They may not even need Joe Harris this year. They've got Bruce Brown still on the roster. He's an elite defender. Blake Griffin, he's an old has-been. We don't even care what he brings. I haven't even mentioned the new Big 3 yet, guys. We've got Kevin Durant, who is the best player, right? You guys can argue with me if you want. He's the best player in the NBA. I don't want to hear about LeBrick. I don't want to hear about anybody else. Best player in the league. You've got Kyrie Irving. You've got Ben Simmons, who is probably the best defensive perimeter defender in the NBA.
And
he
young.
He's super young. He can actually guard 1 through 4. I would say 1 through 5. The only reason I wouldn't say that is because when they go up against the Sixers, and he's probably not going to guard Joel Embiid, but in most cases he can guard 1 through 5. And then I look at the coach, Steve Nash. Everybody's been bagging on Ben Simmons, me included. I'm not going to lie. I've been bagging on this guy all season because he doesn't want to play, when he was on the Sixers. But you take a head coach like Steve Nash, who is a 2-time MVP point guard in the NBA, who would you most like to see develop a young guy like Ben Simmons as a point guard? They got Steve Nash as the coach. And so for me, it all comes down to a discussion of the New York mandate of the vaccines, okay? Because we all know that if Kyrie Irving is not playing in the home games, it's everything is up for grabs in the East, okay? So that's that. I don't want to get into a discussion about vaccines or anything like that, but if New York lifts the vaccine mandate, I promise you that the Nets are going to go to the finals in the East. And so Adam Silver, who is the commissioner of the NBA, actually came out and said today that the New York mandate, the vaccine mandate, does not make sense. And so I appreciate the fact that the commissioner of the NBA is kind of got Kyrie Irving's back at this stage of the game and saying, that mandate doesn't really make sense. And so I have a feeling that mandate is going to go away. And if you see that, guys, if you have a big three of Kyrie Irving, Ben Simmons, Kevin Durant, I told you guys this last week, the whole NBA is in for a big surprise. And I'm a big fan of the Golden State Warriors coming out of the West, as you know, but the East is going to be a joke because that new big three in the East is going to torch everyone else in that conference. And I'm interested to hear you guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah, I like your thoughts that you had about that. As long as Ben Simmons comes back healthy, then I totally agree with everything you said. My first take on this whole thing, though, is that Kevin Durant didn't fight for Harden to stay. Kevin Durant, as the leader of that team, was not going around there trying to, get Harden to rethink his thoughts about, wanting to stay with the team and all that. So, Harden wanted out, and Harden and Kyrie seem to have had some kind of a beef for a while now, and for some reason they just don't work cohesively. Keep in mind, though, the thing with Harden is that he's only been a part of that team for less than a year. And so,
Correct.
For me, it's like, okay, you're kind of becoming a baby now.
He was a baby in Houston.
That's what I mean.
He was a baby with the Nets.
You wanted out of Houston. Okay, you go to the Nets. And now you want out of the
76ers
Nets.
just wait. When he doesn't get his time,
And then he goes.
next?
Now he goes to the 76ers. Now he's talking about his team. Wants to win. That was always his first choice and stuff like that. Personally for me, it's like to me, James Harden was toxic for the Nets squad. I mean, you don't have a team with that much talent, Kyrie or not, and go 1-9 in your last 10 games played. That tells me that the team has given up on itself, and in a lot of ways, that comes from James Harden. So for me, it's like Durant really, at some point respected Kyrie's beliefs with the way he wanted to do with himself, but Harden never did. And so I think that's what it comes down to in the end, is that there's just the whole conflict of interest of what each one wants to get from each other, and also understanding from a personable kind of a thing, being relatable and understanding that maybe your lifestyle is not the same as mine. And I don't think that Harden ever took Kyrie's beliefs into account and actually respect those the way that Durant has shown respect to Kyrie. And so for me, I just see that this is a beef between those two. The Simmons trade was meant to reset the chemistry of the team at this point. For me, Ben Simmons is young, and when he's back from his injury, he's going to fit in very nicely because he's also going to mold into some veteran leadership on that team the way they would like him to be molded into. Not a hothead here who wants to, be a control freak or feels like he's a leader when you're not the leader of that team. Kevin Durant is, and Kyrie Irving is, and you're starting to overstep your boundaries over what you mean to the team.
So, Tanner, what do you think about this new big three? Because I want to talk about the human side of these guys. And when I look at the new big three, I look at a guy like KD and Kyrie and Ben Simmons. They've been made fun of this whole time. Like, Ben Simmons doesn't want to play. He's got a cell phone in his pocket at practice. Kyrie thinks the earth is flat, doesn't want to get a vaccine. Kevin Durant is thin-skinned as fuck, and he's on social media all day long. What would you feel as a player if you're a big three where everybody wants to make fun of you? Would you not, rally the troops and just go bonkers in the playoffs?
Depends what their drive is. If that's their drive, then great, fabulous. So this new big three, Jason, I'm a little torn about it. Mainly because Kyrie can only play currently 10 games after this All-Star break. He only can play 10 games out of the 23, right? Because of this mandate crap. So there's that. There's that issue there. Kevin Durant's hurt. He's already pulled himself out of the All-Star game. He could be out still an extra possible week after the All-Star game. Of course, that's more preparing to get ready. So that leaves Ben Simmons having to come into play, who hasn't played all year long, practiced none, He's been in mental health, right, the whole entire time. But I don't think that's bad, because what they did is they bettered their team. They went out and got Seth Curry, who can shoot. They need a shooter. Joe Harris is out. You just said that he could be gone for the year.
He could be gone for the year. They don't need him.
No, that's your replacement. That's your replacement right there. And guess what? Harris could even walk. Save yourself some money next year on the Nets as well. I'm very, I don't know. I'm not excited about this big three, mainly for the fact that Simmons, he can play defense all he wants. But if you try to get him on the outside to shoot, or put him in pressure situations, the guy can't make anything.
I think they're going to put him at the 5.
I think
for parts of the game, and I think they're going to put him on the 5 on offense, and then on defense, he'll knock everybody down.
What does the 5 mean for the buffoons out there that don't know?
He would be the center.
That's right.
On offense.
He's going to play down low. Is that what we call it?
Or
down low. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just throw it out there, dude.
He can play down low. He can go eat something. I don't know.
So my prediction is he's going to play the 4 and 3, rotate between the two, kind of fill in when they have a big guy down there. They don't have to put him down there. He's going to be better down low, period, I think, at this point of the season to go on. You have shooters, but man, I don't know. It depends on KD's health in the end. They could be looking – I think they look at another second-round exit.
If I could just simplify it real quick, they've got shooters –
they got
all over the place. They've got defense all over the place.
But they need playmakers.
What more do you need? If you got shooters,
I need healthy playmakers.
You got shooters and defense all over the place.
Give me healthy playmakers.
And you've got
a healthy Durant and a healthy Irving that can play in a freaking game.
You don't need any more playmakers.
Give me those two. Simmons, game over. Simmons is really he's cool. Yeah, sure, he's there, whatever. I'm not worried about him. It's really Irving Durant show. Okay? And then real quick take on this Harden deal. I guarantee, I want to say it almost like a guaranteed easy money bet, is this time next year, All-Star break, trade deadline, he's going to be crying because Joel Embiid told him to go get the ball, and he can't play the defense Doc Rivers runs. He can't play the offensive game that Doc Rivers runs. Like, he stated that, he's like, I want to go there to begin with. Well, guess what? This game doesn't even match your play that the 76ers run. Like, there's no reason why. And you can't lob, like, Joel, it's not just a passing game. Like, he likes to lob it into the post. Well, Joel Embiid's not going to be in the post all the time because the guy can shoot. It's a different ball game. And the coach, he's going to get ran out because he's not going to like Doc Rivers in the end, and then he's going to cry about it.
No, but he loves the general manager, and I kind of disagree with you on that. He's not going to complain because his career, he's going to be 33 years old next year.
Yeah, he's going to cry.
When you're 33 in the NBA as a guard, you have no more room to complain. His career's over.
His goal
in like 4 years.
So his goal right now, the reason he keeps doing this crap, is somebody's going to cut him. He's going to get all that guaranteed money, and he don't have to play another freaking ball. Don't have to worry about it. I'm just saying that. Anyways, 76ers didn't come off horrible. I don't like they're on a good winning streak right now, but I feel like Harden does give them that chance to.
So right quick, what is your top 3 rankings in the East? Because I had Nets, Bucks, and then Sixers. Do you have it a different order?
Nah, I'd say Bucks first, and then
I put the Bucks first.
I'd say
they got the MVP right now.
I'd say right now it'd be Bucks, Sixers, Nets.
I'm gonna go Bucks, Nets, Sixers.
And mainly the only reason I put Sixers up there is because Joel Embiid's playing out of this world. He is another MVP contender, but I don't think you're outplaying what the Bucks are doing.
But the Nets have a lot to prove still.
All right, we do got a quick here. Question, just a little off topic here. Does K-State make the tourney? They're the first 4 out. Guess what, guys? They do make the tournament. Plain and simple. Because the way they're playing right now, the way they're playing the tough teams in the Big 12, they're doing enough, and they're going to win a couple more hard games. Probably not my Jayhawks, just so you guys know. But they're going to win some tough games here. So I think they do enough, especially in the Big 12 tournament, to make the tournament.
Very nice.
Yeah, that's a tough bet. I'll throw them in there for what it's worth. I will throw them in there.
Well, by the way, you guys, as we wrap up here, we'll be at Mr. Brew's Tap House in Overland Park next week, Thursday or Wednesday. Maybe we'll be there at Thursday too. I don't know. But Wednesday at 7 p.m. is when we'll be beginning our show. Correct, Tanner?
Correct. 7 p.m. we will be beginning, guys. I will bring the big speaker this time because I forgot it last time.
Yeah, so
but I'll have a
people can hear
speaker
us.
so you guys can all hear it as well. Come join, come chat. Let's just chat about sports if you want, or if you want to see the setup or whatever, we'll go about it. So come say hi.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening in today. And if you didn't catch the whole thing, little recap, we talked about turning the MLB into the WWF and Attitude Era and lingerie matches and stuff. So we talked about all kinds of good stuff this earlier.
Subscribe and follow, guys. Subscribe and follow. Hit the bell as well.
And thank you to the new followers and subscribers, by the way. You guys are amazing, and we appreciate it very, very much.
All right, guys.
So we'll see y'all on the next one.
Thank you, guys. We're out.
See you guys.